everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. Today I have Joni with me. She is starting a YouTube channel. She wanted to do an interview to promote it. It's going to be about genealogy, which is something that I'm really into. I hope that you are too. So we're going to be talking about that. If you've noticed, I've changed my logo and my banner and everything for the channel. I decided to revamp everything. So in case it looks a little bit different, that's why it's time to just kind of do a do-over. That sunflower, by the way, just so everyone knows, I took that picture of that sunflower in Brigham Young. What was it called? I had it pulled up here. It's like Brigham Young Park, a historic park in downtown Salt Lake. It's on State Street, just across from the church office building. So if anyone was wondering, that's where I got that picture. So anyway, hi Joni, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. Thanks.
Good. So we've talked actually a lot on the phone, but just for everybody, so where are you from? How long have you been a member of the church, and kind of what's your backstory?
Yeah, so I'm from the Kansas City area. I live in Lee Summit, Missouri. I was born in Independence. I grew up mostly in Idaho, came back here, went through high school here. So I've been here, since 1993. Yeah. So
Awesome.
I was born into the church and then I backed away from it when I was a teenager. Not really backed away, but it's a long story. So I came back into church when, I should have turned that off. Came back into church when I was 35. So I've been a member, an active member. So I'm 48.
Mhm.
So 13 years. And in 2000, let's see, so it was about 2011 is when I started doing genealogy. And I got addicted. I was doing it like all day on the weekends. I just wanted to do it all the time. Obviously,
Well,
I can't.
what started that? Like what got you going on genealogy?
Okay, so church really. A friend of mine who is really passionate about it in church came over and showed me how to do roots magic and how to download, all my GEDCOM files. And so I don't remember, like, she was just really passionate about it, which is and it was her calling at the time. And it got me just, once I started doing it, I loved it. I mean, I just felt the spirit. Like I've always loved it since I started, my tree and so forth. Spirit of Elijah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, like, have you noticed a difference in the way that they're talking about family history with President Nelson? Like, have you picked up on anything? Because I feel like there's been a change.
Oh my gosh. Yes, there's a huge change. And like, I am so like, just, oh my gosh, it's like the biggest calling right now going on. Honestly, it is the gathering, and it is the most important thing that we can be doing right now. I truly believe that. I feel that in my heart, especially now, like the prophet, that's like, it is being talked about in all of our meetings. It is huge. And I've felt that since I started going into it and building my tree. I've felt that. But now, like, the sense of urgency is like so fired in me. It is, I can't sleep. This is where I'm sorry, but I get so excited. But like, I couldn't constantly. I'm trying to start another business, and let me give you a little bit of backstory.
Yeah.
Okay, so about a year ago in November, I got diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 1. And a year prior to that, I started working on my interior design business, and I'm a self-starter. I started doing the website, and I was 24/7 when I wasn't working my other company. I was working on that, and I became very stressed out. And then I found out I had cancer, and I was like, whoa, okay, God is trying to tell me something. And I hadn't been doing my genealogy for what had been for a year or so, roundabout. And I just knew I really had to reevaluate my life and where I was at, and reread my patriarchal blessing, just pray. I just knew that I wasn't going to die. I just knew that it was a wake-up call. And so I set my business aside. And so this year I tried to, the last couple months, like try to focus on my design business, blogging. There's so many aspects to it. And I just can't stop thinking about genealogy. I really can't. And I'm like, why can I not focus on this? What is going on? I watched your video, one of your videos about doing a video. And this was like when I'm trying to start doing my blog. And genealogy YouTube channel came into my mind. And so I've been pondering that since you mentioned it. And I haven't stopped thinking about it. And so I prayed upon it. And because I was like, God, what am I supposed to do? I worked really hard on this e-design business. And I'm pretty sure the Holy Ghost put that idea into my brain. And so am I like on the right track? But I'm like, want to do genealogy. And because I was seriously thinking about getting a certification on BYU pathways. I was thinking about working at the Midwest Genealogy Center in Independence. I just wanted something that I could just do genealogy, I could do more genealogy, but still I have to work. I have to, support myself. So that's when I was like, okay, I'm just going to pray about it. What am I supposed to be doing? And when I prayed about it, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I just straight up asked God, like, should I do this genealogy YouTube channel? He's like, yes. So I was like, am I supposed to be doing e-design too? Yes. So I was like, okay, so my heart is right. I'm in the right place. So ever since, this has only been a week or so since I decided to do the YouTube channel, my whole thought process has calmed down. I'm not like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because I've been like off, like just not balanced.
Mhm.
Not balanced at all. And then ever since I made that leap, my mind's clear. It's the right path. I know it is. So I'm so excited. I
Yeah.
feel it's right. I
I
know it's
guarantee
right.
it's the right path. I guarantee it. Because like one thing that I've thought about a lot, like my whole life, is like it's always seemed to me, even like from an early age, that the second coming might happen during my lifetime. Like it wouldn't have surprised me, if I found that out back when I was like 12 years old. It wouldn't have surprised me. And it seems like after doing this channel, many people, it seems like the consensus whenever I do a live stream is people feel like it's within 5 to 10 years. Now we don't know, but I've thought about things like retirement, setting yourself up for the future, 401ks, stuff like that, as I've like gone into different fields of work. And I'm not like saying that anyone should stop like living their life like normal, but Heavenly Father does know when the second coming is going to happen, and he also knows the timeline, when things need to happen, when we need to hurry up, and the time by which we have to get things done, right? So a lot of people are really focused on the world. They're focused on like their worldly goals, which is okay. But just picture this: if it does happen, if it happens within 5 to 10 years, is your retirement really going to matter at that point? Again, I'm not saying anybody don't work on your retirement and setting up for stuff like that, but things could get cut short. And so with you doing this channel, like just kind of like doing it and feeling the urgency, with me doing my YouTube channel, which again, I've said it before, it wasn't even on my radar the day before I started it. I just like started it. And so there's an urgency. You get the feelings, just do it, because for all anybody knows, it's going to happen within 5 to 10 years, or maybe even sooner. And so there's probably a reason why you're being prompted to do that. So I think that you will succeed, and it's going to be so what all are you going to do on your channel, and what are some things that you want people to like, or what are some ways that you think you can help people with genealogy?
Yeah. So Jojo's Joyous Genealogy. I gotta think. Jojo, the Joyous Genealogist.
Mhm.
Because I find joy in it, and I know I have other friends in church who get frustrated and they're stuck. I know a lot of people who just, they know they want to do it, but they just don't know where to start, where to go, and get super frustrated. So I know that I'm hoping I can bring joy and enthusiasm to it. But also, there's three factors to it. helping people learn and grow in genealogy, and then, just learning myself. So teaching others and helping others find that passion and joy in it. And then me learning myself all that I can. So
Yeah.
I'm going to focus mainly on like family search to begin with. There's so much with family search, and help people, it's a free tool to use, and then also help them build a tree, offline or in the cloud that's separate from family search, that's their own tree. So using family search and then their own, like whether it's Family Tree Maker or Roots Magic, or whether it's Ancestry, I'm going to help people with that. But mainly like how to use family search. There's so many tools. And then great tips on, like, my next video is going to be on a good photo printing and scanning software that makes life so much easier for people. So I'm super excited about that, to get that up. So not a lot of people know about this app yet. So
Cool. So the last time that I was like really into it was back when I was in the Army. So this was around, I was pretty heavy into family history, probably like 2015, 2016. And I think it was around that time that if you had a family search account, you were a member of the church, you also got a free ancestry account. And I think that's still the case, but like you're more current with it. Do you get other memberships, or is it just that one? Because I know that like family search is connected to all these other kind of like genealogy sites, but like what are all the different deals, or how do they all integrate together?
yeah, we do get Ancestry, a free account. We don't get the free world account, but we do get a free Ancestry account. And you also, if you're not a member of the LDS Church, you can get an account with Ancestry, a guest account, which gives you a lot of records. It doesn't give you all the records, but it still gives you a lot of free records. And if you use that in conjunction with family search, it's going to give you a lot. So there is a way to get a free account with Ancestry, and I can show people how to do that. It's pretty simple. So, but we do sync with Roots Magic also, and I believe it's around $20 or $40 a month. I don't know what the price is currently, but I'll be going over that too, most definitely. So Ancestry and Roots Tech do sync with family search, which is really nice. My heritage, I just started my heritage. Wow, that's something else too. So I mean, there's just so much. There's so much. I'm just so excited to just like dive in and share with everybody.
If you don't mind, if you're okay with it, like what is your general heritage? Where does your ancestry come from?
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so my mom's side of the family is Croatian. And so my grandmother, so my mom's mom is full blood Croatian. And my my dad's side is more German and English. So I do have Scottish. My heritage and ancestry DNA is so different. Your results, like I uploaded my ancestry DNA to my heritage DNA, and my results are completely different. I mean, they're similar, but they're still pretty different, I think. A huge percentage of Scottish, which when I first did my ancestry DNA, I didn't have hardly any Scottish. And I was like, I thought I was more Scottish. But now that I run it, it's just changes the more information they get. So take it with a grain of salt, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I did my for okay, so because they were doing the free accounts with Ancestry, I just went ahead and went with them for my DNA, testing, and yeah, I've seen those results change over time, just like you said, because the more and more sampling they get, the more I guess accurate they're able to do it. And it's somewhat stayed the same, but there have been like changes, like the percentage and stuff has changed. So you're saying that my heritage, they also do a DNA test?
Mhm. Yeah, so if you have Ancestry, I was able to upload my Ancestry DNA to my heritage for free, you guys, for free, which is pretty cool. So I don't know what the difference would be if I did DNA. I'm gonna try it, do my DNA on my heritage, just to see, like, is it gonna be any different than what my uploaded DNA is? I don't know. It's like $40, I think, right now on sale to do that. So it's yeah, I don't understand. And I even done 23 and Me, and that's completely different. So
Like, are we talking about like wildly different or just like moderately different?
Moderately.
Yeah. Well, that's something to take into account. But yeah, I love, so I kind of like started a family tree at that same time around 2015 and 2016 on Ancestry as my, because like Ancestry, if you guys aren't familiar too much with doing family history, the ancestry tree is mostly like a tree that you build on your own, whereas on Family Search, it's like a grand master family tree that everybody shares. And so other people can come in and change information on Family Search, which makes sense because Family Search is being used for um, being able to do ordnance work in the temple. Whereas Ancestry, it's a private company. And so you just kind of like build your own tree. You can like, I think you can look at other people's trees or something like that, or get like hints from other people's trees. But so there's probably value in doing it both ways. Oh, are you there? Oh, I think we lost her. All right, hold on, you guys. All right, sorry everybody, we had a little bit of a hiccup there, but we're reconnected and I've edited this all together. Um, so anyway, yeah, with DNA. So I think it's really interesting. I really like it. I hope that, well, I know that the science will just keep advancing. They'll get more and more data, get more accurate, and hopefully these different sites will kind of like start to resemble each other like they should. But it's all really cool. So um what are like, because you've been doing this as a calling for a while, have you noticed any like common mistakes or hiccups or things that people deal with, like that they have a problem with like getting going with doing their family history? Just like, what are some common things that you see or that you've seen in the past?
Well, with Family Search, it's like people entering in duplicate names. So that's like a big thing. So when you start a family tree on Family Search, is making sure you don't just add a person, search for that person's name in the system before adding them. That is the biggest, most frustrating thing for all of us,
Yeah.
really, is like the duplicates, which you can easily fix. It's an easy fix. I know how to do it now. But
Yeah.
it's just like doing that to begin with is so important.
Yeah. I mean, because that, like, from my point of view, a lot of what I did when I was doing it, and I'm gonna like start getting back into it. Like every Sunday, I think that's gonna be my primary thing is doing family
Yay.
history. But what one thing I was like highly involved in was just like sorting, like getting things all standardized, like the information, like the format of like um cities, locations, birth dates, but also looking for those duplicates, because Family Search does have like a little notification like, oh, there's a possible duplicate, and then you manually review it, and then you can merge it, like, and like you're saying, it's pretty easy. But yeah, I've noticed that that is kind of like a problem.
Well, yeah, especially if you're doing the ordinances for your dead. And you don't need to do the ordinances if you have duplicate people. There's usually the ordinances are usually done, have been, so that's huge if you're a member of the church and you're using Family Search to track your ordinances. You don't want to do taking your time to going to the temple, taking time out for that. You want to make sure you're doing it for the right person and that they haven't had their work done already. That's huge for me. I don't want to waste my time, for
Yeah.
sure.
It'll be interesting to see when this is all said and done, once we can like look back with perfection and see like how many times you've gone through the temple, how many times people have had their ordinance work done multiple times. I guess we'll maybe have those statistics afterwards, maybe during the millennium, I don't know. But um yeah, so it's like, I just did a video about cleaning and how it's nice to clean, and because it brings order to your life, and it's like fighting against chaos and being someone that acts, and rather than being someone that's acted upon. And you can apply that same principle to your family tree. Just go through with a fine-tooth comb and make sure everything is right, everything looks right, all the information is there, make sure there's no duplicates. Attach, because like one big thing with family history is having sources, and there are sources that are on family tree, and you connect them to your ancestor. That way that information is backed up, like rather than just like you're just going off of nothing. If there's a source like an obituary or birth certificate or military records, then you can, with more, a higher degree of certainty, say yes, this is the correct information. And so I love connecting sources because it ties it all down to reality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It does. And I mean, it's endless, really. It's really cool. I think when you start and you're for me, I think I'm pretty hyper and my brain is like it's going every direction all the time. So like when you start doing your tree, you get pulled, you can easily jump from this guy to this guy or that, so easily and try to stay focused because I feel like your ancestors are like in your head, in a way, like pulling you in certain direction. Like they're all like, "Hey, pick me, pick me." That's how I feel. They're
Mhm.
just like, "Come on, I've been waiting, find my stuff." Um, and I had a friend who just recently found, a missing child from this family. Nobody, and she found, was it Swedish? I think so. Anyways, it was European, somewhere in Europe, and she ended up finding this person, and it was a blessing. And then they took her name to the temple and did sealings. And I mean, I hope she doesn't care if I'm sharing this. She watches your channel, so she'll probably watch this. Um, and she just I won't go into it, but there it was very spiritual, and this person was waiting and been lost, and that's just, I mean, there's no other more important work than that right now. There is none besides missionary work and the temple work. Like, now is the time. People need to stop doing what's going on and worrying about what's going on in the world and worrying about all the things that really aren't that important, and dive into their genealogy and their temple work and get it done. Because I'll tell you what, the blessings from it, you can't even imagine. Like, that's what did it for me, was the temple. It's why my heart is where it is right now, is because of the temple. That's it.
Yeah.
It helped me grow, and I'm still going. I'm still growing, but man, you're empowered. You know,
And how far away is the temple for you? The closest one would be the Kansas City temple, right?
30 minutes. Yep.
30 minutes. That's really good. That's really good.
It's awesome. It really
Yeah.
is. We're so blessed.
So one thing I can't remember if it was President Oaks, but this was back in like 2015 or 16. And I was reading a talk, and he was talking, I think if it was him, he was talking about family history and how um it's really good doing the actual work on the computer, finding people, making trees, connecting sources, and doing all that stuff. But more important than that is actually going and actually doing the work, because sometimes you can get really caught up in just like staying on the computer and finding all this cool information and trying to go as far as you possibly can, but then you don't actually uh, do what the end goal is, which is to take their names to the temple. So I know that President Nelson, he has the goal of having a temple within an hour of everybody, which that sounds like a really aggressive goal, and I hope that it comes to fruition. But yeah, we've got to do both. And I think sometimes with a lot of people, either it's like they focus too much on doing the stuff on the computer. It's either that extreme, or you have people that only like go to the temple, but we need people to do both things.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
you're so right. I know somebody right now who just does genealogy, who's a member, doesn't go to the temple. And, I drop nuggets here and there and share my testimony because I'm like, you need to go. Well, and she's been called to be a consultant, which is interesting. And I'm like, yeah, God's trying to shove you into this, like push you, come on, like, come on, you've done all the work, get your butt to the temple.
Yeah. um Now, I don't know if you have the same feeling about this, but why do you think, do you think that adding like photos and memories, like in Family Search, it's all put under like memories where you have like documents, photos, videos, and stuff like that. Do you feel like that is important when it comes to family history, and if so, why?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important, especially like now that I'm, into genealogy. I wish my family that, prior to me had more records. Like, really, it was my dad who started the genealogy, and I've just picked it up from there. But having those memories, and I was showing in my first video, like, start with like an interview with your ancestors. And then after you do like your interview, you're going, and I was suggesting downloading the memories, the Family Search Memories app, and starting to record, because you can record what happened in that picture and give a description, and think how awesome that is going to be for your lineage, for your grandchildren, your great grandchildren that you leave behind, when you have that all set up and they can see, oh my gosh, this is who was. Because I mean, I'm not going to be around forever, and my kids aren't going to be around forever, if that's the second coming hasn't come yet. So, right. But it's so important for stories. People want to know the story behind that picture. It our family is like, that's what makes us who we are, in a sense. Like, why, like, just even looking at pictures of my grandma, I never really realized until I started really looking at her pictures that I actually look a lot like her, and she has like a little bit of a crook in her lips, like, and I have a little bit of a crooked lip, and I'm like, oh, I get that from my grandma. There's just things like that that are so cool that you can relate. Oh my gosh, I am a lot like my family, and you'd be amazed. Like, I love to fish. My grandma loved to fish. You know what I'm saying? Like, keeping those stories in, alive is so important for us to pass them down. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think like, because basically what you're talking about is like, you're, instead of just looking at a profile of somebody with just raw data, it kind of like humanizes them, and you realize, uh I guess it becomes more tangible. And so I've thought about it, and I've thought, like, there's so many different people in my life that I know, like, usually older people that have like photo albums, and they just kind of like sit there, maybe on the coffee table or tucked away somewhere. But one thing that you can do if you're someone that has memories to share, then make that part of your family history work. Because even though the important thing is taking the names to the temple, like, if you're someone you feel like, your family tree has been like done pretty good, but you have these memories, put them on there, because it might just encourage somebody else when they see those pictures and photos to get more excited about it. So I think that it is a really important component, is giving faces to the names and stuff like that. Just put it all on there. And
Yeah.
as far as I know, maybe this information will be available all throughout the millennium, and so yeah, it's just, I think it's important to do that
And
too.
I think it's like what you just said. A lot of people think that their work is all done. Say somebody that's in the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints that was a member from the beginning, right? So I have some friends like this, and they're like, "Oh, our work's been done." It's not. It's not. And not only that, I mean, there's people missing, and there's a lot of things that need to be corrected. And so, I mean, that's what I'm going to be showing people, is how to standardize stuff, how to find what needs to be corrected, and fixing those things. So there's so much there's so much. There really is. I don't think I'll ever run out of content
Yeah.
to talk about, because there's so much to learn, and I don't know everything. I don't pretend to. I'm still a beginner. I just want to share. I want to share the joy of genealogy, and I want to share God's love for us. I want to share some kind of message each time I do a video. I haven't figured that part out, but how can I share this passion? Because this is the spirit of Elijah that I have. And there's so many people that have it. There's so many people that are doing genealogy that aren't of our faith that have the spirit of Elijah. That's what's going on. He's That's why people are doing genealogy like crazy right now. It is.
Yeah. And just like how I've talked about how I feel like it's important for me to offer, offer to promote these different people like yourself and others to do YouTube, because like we have now the ability to communicate with so many people because of technology. um on that same token, when it comes to genealogy, now we have access to so much more information, and it's so much easier to do genealogy and family history than it would have been in like the 1970s, the 1950s, because now so many documents and things have been digitized, censuses and everything. So now you don't have to go. Okay, so when my dad was still alive, this must have been sometime in the late 90s, maybe it was like 97 or something like that. I went with my dad. He was like doing genealogy for a little bit, and we actually went down to both the family history library in downtown Salt Lake, where they had like the microfiche film or microfiche or whatever, and like you'd go and find it out of like all these rows, just rows and rows and rows of this film. You'd find the film that you're looking for, and then painstakingly scroll, like you'd turn a wheel type thing to like go through the film. It was hard. It was hard to
Sounds
do it
terrible.
like that. But now a lot of people have done indexing, so it's easier to find names, and it's easier to locate like we've come a very long way since the 1990s in terms of like how easy it is now to do family history. So we've got to take advantage of these incredible, powerful tools that we have now. There's not really an excuse, I don't think, because
I
yeah.
I believe that's one of the reasons why we have the internet, is for the genealogy, for the gathering. I mean, think about it. Like you're explaining exactly the torture people used to go through. We're so blessed to have the technology. There's so many tools that make it so easy and fun
Mhm.
compared to what it used to be like. And there's so many research libraries. My family's from Indiana, Fort Wayne area, right where Allen County is, where there's the biggest genealogy library with the most records, right there. And I got to go there last year. It was awesome.
Are they going through any sort of process to digitize their records or?
Yes. So actually, while I was there, there were some people there scanning. And I started talking to them. I was like, "What are you guys doing? You know, what's going on here?" And they told me, and they had these like, yeah, these, I don't know, just this setup, and they'd have their whatever they were using to scan and the document underneath it, and just flipping through pages after pages, scanning. And that's what they get paid to do. I was like, this looks like a cool job.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, so they said they go all over to the libraries doing that. So, and this is companies that are, and they do this for like phone directory and all kind. It's obviously a big thing. Like we don't really
Yeah.
understand what goes on in the background, but behind the scenes, that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. But one thing cool about like Allen County I loved is that it's people taking their family history and putting it into books. And so I have like, my dad's side of the family, there's quite a bit of, I mean, I shouldn't say quiet, there's 2 or 3 books about our surname all the way back to England. So these people have kept track of everybody that's been born the last, I don't know, 300-400 years, and it's in these books. And that's what like Allen County Library is, basically just tons and tons of records that families have put together of their surname.
Wow.
So it's a good place to start looking. So you can go online and you can search for the records, and you can find out exactly where that record is. Is that in Allen County? It will tell you the library that it's at, and you can you can either go there and visit, or you can request them to take a print of it and email it to you. You can do that also, which is pretty cool. They have something specifically that does that, the libraries.
That's crazy. It's crazy because when you think about it, because I wasn't aware of them at all, but on these like other sites, like all the time they're always like putting out announcements of like, oh, now we have this collection, we now have this available, these records have been digitized. So it's basically at any given moment, at all times there's always new records being added to the internet and to the digital world. So it's just like um, the information, the sources, they're all just like growing every day that goes by. And it's going to be interesting to see how far this goes, because like, let's say for example that the second coming doesn't happen for like 20 to 30 years, which I don't think is the case, but let's just say that it did. um Somehow will AI maybe start to have more of a role in finding things, um it's not outside the realm of possibility. I still think that you would still need the human touch to like go over and make sure everything's right, but uh
Well,
who
they're
knows
doing that now. They're doing that now.
what like how so
The
like.
AI. So I know Ancestry and Family Search, and I'm not sure like the back, but what they do, they are having computers scan all the documentation. So with like the 1950, this is why the 1950 census went into the system so fast, like, is because people can get online still right now. And let me see if I can, anyways, before I get sidetracked. So you can go online right now and you could put in your city, state that you want to look up and a surname for that area, and it will bring it up if it hasn't been digitized, or if it hasn't been indexed. And you can, and I did this with like my Croatian family in Indiana, and I found the 1950 census for them by just doing that. And then I saw it before it was even really officially entered into the system, and I indexed it and entered it. So what the computer's doing is scanning all these documents, all the census records. And then us people are donating our time and just checking. There's like some words that the computer is having a hard time reading, and then you just clarify, yes, that's correct, or you edit it, or no, I can't read it either. So so they're already doing that with our records, which is fast. It's awesome.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. So that's,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh. Have you participated in and I haven't so far. I wanted to make this actually a tradition to, because I didn't think that we were going to leave Arizona. I wanted to every year make a tradition and go up to Salt Lake and go to Roots Tech in person. Have you participated in Roots Tech at all? Like, because
Yeah.
I know that you can like,
Not
go
in
ahead.
person. Not in
Not in
person. No.
Yeah.
But online, they've had it online the last couple of years, which honestly, I'm an introvert, so I'd rather just do it. I'd rather stay at home. I think it'd be cool to go in person, but Roots Tech, I mean, and anybody right now can go to Roots Tech and take any of the sessions, anything that they put out in March, I believe is when we had our conference, or they had their conference, and you can still go on there and watch any of the training, all of it. It's right there.
Just from this last year, or do they have it
Mm-hmm.
from the previous years?
I don't know, because haven't looked to see. That's a good question. I
Hmm.
don't have an answer for that. But I know, like, I'm assuming like it's been updated for this year. So I don't know like if they have, I would think they would still have the past sessions available. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I thought I heard is Roots Tech, is it the largest um genealogy convention?
I think so.
I
I'm
think
not
it is too.
sure on that, but I think it is. I think it's up there. It's pretty
Yeah.
big.
What kind of because I've never watched it. I need to do that. But like,
Oh my
was there anything
gosh.
that you learned from it, or like what
Yeah.
did you
I learned how to spend more money on genealogy. So yes, I say that only because I bought some new apps, some new things to use, some new tools, photo scanning tools. Um, Apple has come out with a new app also, which is really cool. So I learned about some new tools that I can use to just to preserve my photos. And now I'm not going to tell you too much because they'll ruin my next video.
okay,
So,
okay.
but this is, yeah, it's exciting, this new tool to scan and edit your photos. So I was able to share all these photos I've downloaded of my family with anybody in my family. So and it edits them, I mean, it corrects them, it fixes them like that. I've never
Oh,
seen anything like this.
so it is like a type of like restoration, like photo
Hmm.
restoration.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. I used to do that because like I'm on Photoshop all the time because that's my job. I do graphic design and I primarily deal with Photoshop. But I decided to like do kind of like a little side business. I'm not doing it anymore, but doing photo restoration for people, and it's, doing it manually is really fun. But it's really cool because now Photoshop, and I'm assuming that the app that you use probably uses the same type of technology, but does it do like colorizing where
Hmm.
like uses
Yes.
on Photoshop, it's called a neural filter, and it's not like perfect, but it does a pretty good job at coloring photos. And then you can like make little corrections and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I think they still need to work with the colorization with this app particularly because it I mean, it kind of guesses the color, and so sometimes you'll see a variation of color in the picture. If it's a black and white, it's like,
mm,
it looks kind of blue and then red. Like the pants might be a variation of color instead of just one color. So, but I know that Ancestry is using this technology from this app to incorporate in their system and so forth. So the AI with what this app is doing, Ancestry is has bought some of that technology and is implementing that. So I've got to dig into that a little bit more because I'm not sure. I think it's like two separate things, but it's so exciting.
it is. So what are like all your favorite, I mean, if it's not too personal, like what accounts do you have? You do My Heritage, and
Yeah.
you also do Ancestry. Are there other ones that you do, or
Yeah.
is it?
So I started with Ancestry and basically Family Search. And then I just got an account from My Heritage because it's more of a world, it's more a European site. And My Heritage is really cool because it connected me with DNA of people outside of this country, which with Ancestry, that's not what I found. I found just people I'm connected to in the United States. So I don't know if that's because I don't have a world account. I don't know. But so I use those three mainly and Family Tree Maker. Um, so Family Tree Maker is a desktop version that you can download all of your information to and save it. So it's not on just on an Ancestry or Family Search because you should always or upload, save your own documentation, save your all your everything else on your own files, all of your tree JEDCOM file. It's very smart. So Roots Tech is really good too, and I haven't used that in a while. And we had a family social last night actually for my ward at the library. It was really good. It was a good turnout, and somebody had mentioned that I haven't used Roots Magic, and I was looking at her system, and it looked pretty simpler compared to like Family Tree. I think Family Tree looks a little kind of I don't know. It's just I think Roots Magic is a little bit more simple. So that might be something I teach people on instead of Family Tree Maker, whatever, I think everybody has to kind of pick out what works for them.
Yeah,
But definitely having something that you can back up and save because we don't know if Ancestry is going to be around forever,
yeah,
because what they think if you don't keep your account, I mean, if you have to pay for an account for your membership every month or yearly, and you decide not to do that anymore, you lose all that information that you saved. So it's so important to every source that you download into Ancestry or you download from Family Search that you actually download that and file that in your computer under that person. So you have it.
yeah. So with okay, um, so with JEDCOM files, right? That's what they're called.
Hmm.
Is it just like the raw data itself, or does that also include photos and videos, or is it just
The raw data.
the raw data? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's why maybe one thing you could do like for your channel is like just review all these different uh genealogy products, services, websites, and like so people know, because that I would find value in that if someone could be like, hey, this is actually a really good website because they do this different, or so I don't, that's just like an idea, but I think there'd be a lot of value if you reviewed different stuff, because there's a lot. When I log on to Family Search, they have like all the like affiliated companies, and there's like a pretty decent list. With a lot of them, I have no idea why I would at all go with any one of those other ones, because they're just like you know, they're not as popular as like Ancestry or 23andMe or things like that. So, but it's kind of amazing just how much is out there, both websites where you can create a family tree or just like apps or things that do things with your information. Like I know that you can go on Family Search and there's sometimes they'll have stuff by like BYU. I think BYU did a thing where you would upload your information from Family Tree to this BYU app, and then they would tell you who you're related to, like these like famous people, like Prince Harry, your cousins 15 times removed or whatever, like stuff like that. There's a lot of cool things that can be done with your ancestry information, your family history.
Yeah, there's a lot of that you can do on Family Search. If you have the Family Search app, we did this last night in the group in the room that we were in because we had a huge group of people. I was like, hey, everybody, get out your Family Search app. And if you click on the 3 lines on the app, whether you have an iPhone or Android, they'll be on the top or the bottom. And it says relatives near me. And you click on that and it says scan relatives, and anybody who has a Family Search account who opens that, you can see how close you are related, because most people you're related to, which is really cool. And then also on Family Search, you can find out famous people that you're related to, and that is so fun to do.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
The first time, this must have been back when I was Arizona, but there was a missionary that showed me that feature, the relatives near me. I had no idea that even existed. And so when he showed that to me, it blew my mind. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. Cause yeah, it is a small world. And sometimes like people that aren't familiar with genealogy, when you go back in your family tree, it's not just your surname down your dad's side. You go through and all your relatives, there are so many different last names within your family tree, things that you would just never associate yourself with, like Billings or Johnson or something like that. Like you kind of like realize just how much goes into creating you as a person, how many people go into creating you, all your great grandparents and so on and so forth. And I know that there's like the concept of like because with each generation you go back, it doubles, so you have like 2 sets of grandparents and then 4 sets of great grandparents, and then it goes back and it just kind of gets to a certain point where it exceeds the world population at that point. So there's kind of like this, do you know the term for that? It's like the genealogy cone or something like that. But there's just like interesting things when it comes to that. I saw a good presentation about it by someone from BYU. But yeah, I think a lot of us are a lot more related than we realize.
Well, yeah, I think we're almost we're all connected, it seems like. I
Yeah.
mean, I was related to a lot of people, not everybody in the group, but a lot was like my 9th, 10th, or 11th cousin, which I was like, what? How? But then and then it shows you, so you go up on the tree and then you go down and you're like, okay, I don't even know this last name, or I didn't know I was related to a Smith, or I'm
Mhm.
related to, my last name's Stewart, and I'm related to Stewart. I mean, I have a lineage of Stewart, so I wonder if I'm related to my husband. He doesn't have a Family Search account, so I don't know.
You never know. You never know.
I know. We probably are related.
Yeah. Ancestry, they used to do this thing on their DNA portion of the website where they had like these subgroups, like subpopulations, and it had the Mormon pioneers, and it showed up on my results because on my dad's side, it's a lot of pioneers. But like that's been taken away. They don't show that anymore. But it'd be interesting to see if you could see.
Wait, they don't show what anymore? The
They had like, how like they have the different regions, like Iberian Peninsula, Spain, Portugal, Eastern Europe, things like that in Ancestry DNA, like the little, like the geographical regions. Well, they had like a separate one for Mormon pioneers, and that showed up for a while under your DNA results. But then for some reason, I guess that's been
Oh.
taken off, or it's not showing up on mine anymore. But it was just kind of cool that they had like a subgroup for that.
Oh, that is cool. I never seen that or wasn't, yeah,
Yeah.
active around that time. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I found, I mean, just recently found some family on my husband's side who was one of the earliest pioneers of, the Mormons and gathering. And then I found a relative of mine. This is really cool. That was in Pennsylvania and went to Kirtland, Ohio to get Joseph Smith and bring him back to teach his family in Pennsylvania. And he wrote the section in Doctrine and Covenants when he was with my ancestor. He had got revelation about whether his family was safe in Kirtland, Ohio while he was visiting my family. And he got confirmation that his family was fine. This was in section 101 or 100. Shoot, I already forgot, but it's in one of those two. And I thought, ooh, that is so cool. Like to find that out, and in the Mormon battalion. And his other kids, and he ended up dying before we got to Utah because of everything that was going on. They really suffered. And they there's some letters that I found, and they were about his kids, and I think some of his siblings were talking so bad about them, making fun of them because they were dying, and they were like, yeah, this is supposed to be God's church and they're dying. And so like I have documentation of that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. My gosh.
So ancestry, I mean, I've got some stories I could tell you. So I'm going to share stuff, and I want to do some lives. What I think I'm going to do, because I don't want to detract from me doing my own search, right? I want to keep doing my own research, and that's super important to me. So I think that's what I want to do. I hope people are interested in that, and I'll see how that goes, is doing some live streams on YouTube and just me doing my genealogy. And maybe people, if people want to jump on and chat, I can share stories, or if they have questions, I can show them while I'm live. But I think doing just some research live can be kind of fun. And I don't know, I'll just see what people think. But it's kind of what's in my mind right now, would be kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
And people can learn that way too.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be good. You're going to do good. I can tell that you have the passion for it, and you have a good personality, and I think you can make it really fun and share a lot of really good information.
I hope so. Thanks.
And I hope more people get into it. President Nelson has talked about, because like before President Nelson, it was usually just, you talked about the threefold mission of the church: proclaim the gospel, or preach the gospel. I don't know, proclaim, preach the gospel, perfect the saints, and redeem the dead. And now he's kind of reframed it where it's about gathering scattered Israel, both on this side of the veil and on the other side of the veil. And then as far as like perfecting the saints, simply becoming a Zion people. So it's still like the same missions, but it's like been taken up to the next step, or the next phase, or elevated. And that's what it's all about. So we really, now that everybody, unlike the 1990s or even the early 2000s, now that virtually everybody has a computer and smartphones, we really should take some time out and do some family history, because it's been made very easy for us to do. And the benefits and blessings are just are incredible. So
now is the time, right now. And if you want to be a part of something huge, it is genealogy. That is it. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened on the earth, I think, besides Jesus coming and well, I shouldn't say the biggest thing. There's a couple things before that, but it is one of the biggest things. And I mean, now is the time, people. Now is the time. And if you want to be part of it, then join in. Do it.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as, it's one of the most important, President Nelson, what came to mind was that he did in fact say that the most important thing happening right now is the gathering of Israel. And when he said that, I'm sure he said that a couple times. I know that he said it in the youth devotional in 2018, where he was mostly talking about like going on missions and talking to your friends and stuff like that. But because he's put the two together, both family history and missionary work, as gathering Israel, then I think it actually is the most important thing happening right now, family history along with missionary work. So yeah, everybody should, if you're a member of the church, do it. You do not want to be held accountable if you didn't do it when right now it's so easy. Maybe it'd be like a little bit more excusable back in the 80s or something like that, because it was a lot more difficult. But now it just, everyone can do it. Everyone can do it so easily.
Well, yes. And I don't know. I'm a pretty direct person. I don't sugarcoat too much. And so sometimes I say things that come out the wrong way. And I mean to be a little bit softer with what I'm saying, or kinder, not so direct. But if you want to be blessed, if you're a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and you're struggling in whatever it is, whether it's school, work, family, whatever it is, go to the temple, do your family history. It will change your life. It will. That's it. That's the answer right there. It's that simple. It will change your heart. I am a walking example of that, you guys. My heart was broken. I was lost. I was so lost. The church is what, it's why that's why I'm here. It's why I'm where I am today, is because of the gospel of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the reason why my heart is where it is today is because of the temple and the family history work that I have done and continue to do. Because when you gather your family, you're gathering your family, people. Like, this is so important. They are waiting for us, begging, praying for us to do this. And when we're paying attention to what's going on in our lives over this, then the blessings are withheld from us. But when we do the work of our Heavenly Father and our family, the blessings are going to pour over you like you've never seen before. And you just find so much happiness, so much joy. So I'm really passionate about it. Get on it, people.
Yeah, because you know, if you okay, so like if you're in the spirit world right now and you died without knowledge of the gospel, or you're in the spirit world, it's been taught to you, you've accepted it, and you know that the second coming is approaching, you're going to want to be able to be resurrected as soon as possible. But that's not going to happen until that's done, from my understanding, because basically at that point, if you're going to be, so say that you're going to be resurrected to a celestial body, well, you can't do that until you've had your work done and you've made the covenants and accepted them. So you could potentially, if you don't do the whole process, both doing the searching and going to the temple, then you could be leaving that person high and dry, where they're like ready to get resurrected, but they're just waiting for the actual temple work to be done. So, and I don't know, I don't know what it's like in the spirit world, but I'm sure that you're pretty anxious to get your body back and be resurrected. And while everybody else is like celebrating being resurrected, and you're like, oh, well, hopefully my family will do it at some point so I can join this party. It's just, yeah.
Not only that, this helps them progress in the spirit world, which is huge. Like, there's people who've been taught the gospel there, and accepted the gospel, and now they're just waiting for the work to be done, to be baptized, and that helps them progress and it blesses them. And so this is what I think about, and this is what I tell my ward. Okay, so my husband's he's a non-member, and so it's just me doing the temple work. Okay, and so I've invited in my ward helps me out a lot, and I'm like, just think about that you guys have done so much. We did almost 200 ordinances last year for my family. And I was like, think about, I put a post on our our ward Facebook page last week. And I was like, here's a link to my family share group. You can come here and take names from my family whenever you want to go. Think about when you die that you're going to meet the family members that you did the temple work for. Think about that. Think about me. I mean, think about all the family that I've gotten to know my family name. I know them by name. So many people, I'm going to know them when I die. That's, for me, it's huge. I'm going to know who they are. They're going to know me. They're going to come seek me out and say, thank you, like get goosebumps thinking about it. There's so many blessings. I just think of that and I think that's pretty cool.
It is. And so just off of the top of your head, putting you on the spot, like how far back do you think you could go? Just off the top of your head, like how familiar are you? Like how many generations do you think you could go back? If like all records were wiped out and you had to like from scratch from memory, how far back do you think you could go?
If
Just with names.
Oh, like what I can remember in names right now?
Yeah.
Um,
because I think I could only do
I can't remember
2, maybe 3 at most.
I can't remember okay, so are you asking how many people I can remember or like how far back? Oh,
people and how far back?
Oh gosh. 1600s, I can remember back to the 1600s and hundreds of names. I couldn't tell you. I mean, there's a lot.
Isn't there like typically for like people with a European background, isn't there like a date or like kind of a range where it just starts to get really unreliable past a certain time, like the 1600s? Isn't there something like that?
Yeah. Because I mean, I have 1600s. I have some that I go back to 15, but 16 is it's after 17 and below is tough, I think, for sure. Because unless there's like, for one, if they're famous, like we do have some lords in my family, and I'm like, really, is this for real? I mean, but that's helpful because there's a lot of documentation on people who had money back then, who were known. I had people who had families that our family had a street named after them, stuff like that. So that kind of stuff is helpful. But if without those kind of documentations, it is really hard. Yes, most definitely. There's stuff out there.
I saw like one time I was just playing around on my family tree, just trying to find like the line that went back the furthest. And I found one that supposedly went back to Adam and Eve, but I don't think that it's accurate at all, because just talking to like there's this girl that my wife worked with, and she went to school for genealogy at BYU, got her degree, and she's like, that's probably, and I agree with her, because I think someone probably got a little overzealous and started making connections that maybe weren't there. So that's maybe a hint if you come across that on your family tree. Maybe that's like a good hint to like, hey, maybe take a closer look at that and really verify, because that's probably not the case that you're able to go all the way back to Adam and Eve. But I don't know. I'm not saying that it's impossible.
Yeah, they're doing stuff with DNA now that I don't even understand. I would like to learn more, but there's some way of tracking like where your family through DNA, where they migrated, basically where they travel. They can track that through DNA, which is really interesting. And there's a lot of that information on Roots Tech for people to learn about the DNA aspect of it, but it is way over my head, you guys. So I'm not even about to touch the DNA tracking and none of that yet. So that's what a lot of genealogists do. They're experts in that.
I don't know, because I've kind of been out of the game for a while. Have you? But I've like had this thought that maybe at some point they're going to integrate DNA with your family tree, maybe on Family Search. I don't know, maybe that's like too far in the future, but have you heard anything like that, or do you know?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I haven't.
maybe they won't. I don't know, but that'd be cool if somehow. Of course, I guess you'd have to get samples from like your deceased relatives, which probably isn't going to happen. So I don't know, but
Here is one thing though that I learned just recently is that you do want to get your mom and dad or your grandparents' DNA test done, because now you can track like the maternal and you can track what DNA aspects, I don't know if that's the correct terminology, that you get from your mom specifically and her mother and dad. So I know I'm going to get my mom a DNA test real soon. So that's something new that I just heard like within the last 7 days.
that kind of brings up an interesting point. We're not going to be here forever, and the older you are, the more. So what? Okay, let me word it like this: we all have people in our family that are, you know, on the older side, elderly. They're not going to be here forever. Time is of the essence. My dad, for example, he passed away in 2015, and he was like in his um, early 60s, and I didn't really see it coming. He had health problems, but like it was just kind of like a sudden thing, a heart attack, and then he was gone. And so any information that he would have had, whether in his memory or if he knew where to look for certain things, like that's gone now. It's gone. So that's another aspect to this is you need to think about the people in your family that aren't going to be here forever, the records that they have, the memories that they have, and get on that. So just like you, like how you're going to do this DNA thing, uh, we got to take advantage of who we have here right now before that information is gone forever, or at least till the millennium or whatever.
Yeah, that's important. I agree.
Yeah.
For sure, keeping track of all that. Because I know my kid. One thing I like about Family Tree Maker is you can actually will your account to your kids or whoever, and so I've actually like have willed my account to two of my kids because I know they're not interested in it yet, but I'm like, both of you guys are in charge of this. When I die, you'll have access to the Family Tree Maker because I believe I did. I picked the two kids I felt like, well, I know I was singling out the other one, but I could only pick two. So
Mhm.
I just felt like that's going to become something for them. Like that's going to be good for them. So that's really cool that they'll have that forever. All the work that I've done will be there. And you know what I mean?
Mhm.
That'll be so helpful for them. They don't know it now, but they will.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we're probably approaching, I don't know, like I have to edit these three
An
sections
hour.
together, but we're probably approaching an hour if we haven't exceeded it. So I'm glad that I got to talk to you today, Joni, and talk about this exciting topic. And hopefully this video by itself will encourage people to do their family history. And I know that as you do your YouTube channel and as it grows, you'll inspire others to do the same thing and maybe realize things that they didn't before
That's the
about how to do
goal.
genealogy. Yeah,
I hope so. I appreciate the opportunity. And I mean, you really inspired me to be at this where I'm at right now. So
good.
I encourage anybody who has been inspired by Jared that hasn't taken the leap into the step and just started a YouTube channel to just do it. Like the spirit spoke to me when you said that and I listened and I feel like it's the right, I know it's the right thing. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to beat my own drum or anything, but like this is an example of like how when you just simply act, you never know how you might affect other people. So um
Yeah.
just encourage everybody to act and spread goodness into the world and further the mission of the Lord, because I think we all have so much more influence and power than maybe we realize, and Satan doesn't want us to think that we can change the world or do anything, but we can, just through small and simple means. So
Look how much like I mean, all the work you've done, all your videos. I was looking today and you've done 700 videos. I was like, wow.
I know.
Wow.
uh, it's become a passion. I really like it. I really like doing it, and it's cool uncovering a lot of these different just kind of questions that I've had. There's like a lot of stuff that I've known, but like doing this YouTube channel, it's given me the opportunity to like really dig into things and like solidify my knowledge or find out new things. And so,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, you inspired me. I was like, I love what you're doing with the pictures and stuff. And I was like, and that gave me the idea. I was like, I want to do that with my YouTube channel. I want people to send in pictures of their family and memories and me, just, display them for them and share them with people. I think that's really, and like the story behind it, I think that would be cool. If people want to share, their family and the story behind that picture and what that means to them. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. I like doing it just because again, it's like humanizing my audience because I've never been a big fan of like terms like the masses or the ordinary person, because I don't think anybody is ordinary. Like we all are so incredibly, it blows my mind. Like when I think about faces, okay, faces. I'm really good with faces and remembering people, but as good as I am, because I'm always like picking out like different actors and actresses in movies, like I usually get it before my other family members do. But like it's amazing how just different faces are there. It's just like the same elements, a nose, a mouth, eyes, but like we can all look so incredibly different. And that just kind of witnesses to the fact that everybody is so unique and has so much to bring to the channel, and we all have infinite potential within us. So
Or spirit
I don't like
DNA.
to think of people as the masses. I like to like see individuals, and it's amazing. Our human family, it's amazing. It's amazing.
It
So
is. I like that spirit DNA or spiritual DNA.
yeah, oh gosh, because think about what things will be like maybe after this life when we see beyond just our generation of Heavenly Father's children, like going on up the line and outwards. Like it'd be amazing to see the entire grand scale, the entire human family in all directions. It's probably breathtaking. And but it's cool that we get to do what we get to do now, and sorry, just this keeps going, but think about in the Book of Mormon when Lehi was looking up his genealogy, like that was a big deal for him. And back then it was even harder. It was even harder than the 50s or the 60s to do family history, because for heaven's sake, it was the ancient days. So now we live in a time where we can see such a big picture. We have so much information available to us that they didn't have back then. So we're really blessed. If you were born during this time, which obviously you are because you're watching this video, we've been blessed with
We have.
information. So we should consume it, enjoy it, and do everything that we can to just learn as much as possible. So okay. So I think that's it. So
All right.
love to have you on again, as well as anybody else that I've interviewed at some point in the future talking again. But for now, everybody, please make sure to check out her channel, subscribe. I have it under, I'll put the link in the description below. I also have it on the my homepage for my YouTube channel. I have like the featured channels, and hers will be there. So make sure to check her out and get excited about genealogy, and she'll bring it out of you. So, all right. Well, thank you so much, Joni.
Thank you.
All right. Talk to you guys later.